with El Nino. Today is Friday, January 6th, 2026. I'm Sweets, this is X, and today we're going to be looking at what he is building. Heard you've been doing some more vibe coding. Talk to me, what are we working on?
Man, I had like originally earlier, or not earlier, but like last year, sometime I was kind of experimenting with V0, but I was using it as like, proof of concept, showing new ideas, things that I wanted to put into like Maravilloso City and like kind of help you kind of visualize what I had in mind for certain things. So I was using it that way. I had used VS Code before, but I didn't really dive in. I saw a lot of the vibe coding stuff, but I was still kind of hesitant because I was like, how much of my time is this really going to take away from me? Would I build anything of value, etc.? So that's a little background into last year. And then like towards the end, I saw a lot more happening with Cursor and Claude and like all these different things. And I was like, okay, maybe this is my time to like really dive in and actually try to build something. And so I had so much stuff sitting around, so many ideas, so many projects, things that I wanted to build out. And I went ahead with the first one. And you know how everyone, it's like a trend and everyone's building out their personal OS. So like for me, my mind, like even before that, I went to like, I always wanted to have something for my label, something that like I can use to manage. Basically, the idea was how could I grab everything that's fragmented? So, Excel sheets, Google Docs. I use like 3 music distributors, right? So I got songs across all of these things. Then on the publishing side of music, there's probably 2 societies that I work with. They're called PROs, and I have like different splits and all these different. It's more metadata basically. So there's like the metadata for releasing to Spotify, and there's metadata for managing compositions and songwriting stuff, right? So I'm like, I want to build an OS essentially for that. So we can go ahead and dive in, and I can show you what I've done so far. I think like the most interesting thing was I kind of tweeted it, and I was like, let me get the tab right. Let's see if we can see it. Can you see it there? Is it on the?
Yes, sir, we got it.
There we go.
Synergia OS.
Yeah, Synergia OS. Yeah, so I can dive right in, but I wanted to share like this is the first thing I ever vibe coded, and I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was flow state. I don't know if I was really into it, but I think it's the best thing I've done so far that actually functions. It works. It's smooth, like so to speak, right? But I just wanted to share that because I'm trying to go back and figure out how the hell I did this. But like here we are. Let me go ahead and go in. So I wanted it to be more than a dashboard, but I thought, let me figure this out. Let me learn. Let me build out a dashboard and kind of go and start there, right? So while there's a dashboard and an artist profile, I think I want to jump straight to the catalog. So originally this was the catalog manager. So the idea was I want to find a way to manage and organize my music catalog, right? It was that simple, simply because of what I mentioned earlier, right? I got stuff on Google Docs, on Excel sheets, the distributors, the music publishing rights organizations, right? There's so much stuff, so much metadata all over the place. And I wanted somewhere where I can like just go ahead and have it organized and be able to search it. So I went ahead and built this out. And so as you see, we have like all the El Niño Estrella releases. So I started there. I started with the catalog manager because I felt like that was going to be the one that I was going to use the most on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis. So I went ahead and did that. So as you can see, I have the global search, so I can look up any of my songs instantly right away. I created this little menu here just so I can quickly view the metadata. So as you can see, I can see the recording info and credits. So the artists, the producers, as you can tell, I haven't filled out everything. It's still early. But then I wanted to dive deeper into the publishing. So it's divided into, we have the recording info, and then we have the publishing metadata. So I got everything on here. And then if I wanted to, I can export PDF. So one of the ideas is like whenever I get requested for a sync or something like that, I can just go here, export PDF, send it out to them, and it has all the splits and all the information, all the data that they need to either process the payment or get the agreement going in a quicker way. Usually I would have like multiple tabs open and just try to get all this information from all the different writers. And my splits are pretty simple, right? I try to keep things 50-50. It's usually the same contributors, producers, all that stuff. So that's just an example on the release level. I got the ability to import, export, CSV, Excel, PDF, all the stuff that I've had over the years. Contributors, so just so I can have defaults just right away for the songs. New releases I can upload by single, EP, or album. And that's one of the first things that I actually built out that I thought I would find the most useful. And then as you could see on I have it as catalog agent. Ideally in the future, what I want to do is just integrate an agent to understand my catalog, go through my catalog where I can quickly request it instead of kind of going in and doing that like either manually or trying to find information on a song or something like that. So yeah, that's one of the first things that I built out here. The streams agent. This is actually using the Spotify API. I just wanted to learn how to use like the Spotify API, just like the free version of it. So it's just showing, me as an artist. It's showing releases, all that stuff. Again, this was more of a learning thing, but in the future, again, each tab or each page will have its own agent essentially that I can talk with, focused on that, or they can kind of like interconnect.
On the streams page, what info are you pulling from the Spotify API?
So right now it literally pull everything that you're seeing. So it's pulling in all of my releases, everything that I've ever released, or that's actually active on Spotify, I want to say.
Yeah, under your artist. And now it's not going to give you streaming data like number of streams, right? You're mostly using it to get the songs and catalog info.
Right. So like, I tried to like, I'm actually interested in seeing what I can do with Recoup here. But for example, one thing I did was I pulled in data from SongStats. They were super helpful, and like I had my artist account, so they said, "Hey, I'll give you API access just by having the artist account. You don't need enterprise access or anything like that." So I did pull stuff in. I felt it was a little redundant, but it was cool to get some things in. In my journey, it was like, what do I really want to pull in from SongStats? Do I really want to pull in streaming data? Like I felt like that was not the thing I was interested in. One thing I like about Chartmetric and SongStats is the idea of pulling in like either milestones or key moments or things that are happening, like insights, more than like just pure numbers and data and stuff like that. So this is really like the simplest thing I did, but I wanted to learn how to like pull in something from Spotify for fun.
Yeah, you're making an API request here. You're using Spotify API. You're seeing what data the Spotify API gives you back. I'm sure you're learning a ton.
Exactly. So quickly going back to catalog agent, one thing was like, I don't actually want to just import and export here or add a release manually. So I was actually having in Cursor, whatever model or agent I was using, I was feeding it the PDF, I was feeding it the Excel, the CSV, and I was telling it to create the releases for me automatically. And then I can go in and do that, right? So again, those little things that you kind of miss, like it's not just about building out, maybe a UI or something. You could actually have the agent go ahead and ingest the data, the catalog, the whatever you like. So then there's the sort of the revenue agent. This one, I still need work. This was challenging. I think I was having challenges with bringing in, like I'm trying to figure out what would be the best way to bring in real-time revenue data into this. I haven't put in a lot of time or effort on that, but for now, all I did was just kind of like, uploaded a CSV. I pulled in like a 0x splits CSV from splits, just previous NFT drops and things like that. I have the ability to do manual entry. I can upload CSV or whatever I'd like. And then let's say I wanted more data. I have the ETH price in there. I don't know why. I think it did that from CoinGecko. It's pulling in the ETH price. I don't even know if that's the actual ETH price right now, but
it's probably using that to calculate your revenue. If you're doing stuff from splits, it was probably an ETH, and so it needed that to give you your dollar amount.
Right. So I think it pulled that in. So I've been playing with this. I want to go deeper on this. Once you click something, it opens up this, gives you a bit more details. I don't know if this is enough detail. Again, something that I would need to actually go in and figure out exactly what I want it to do for me. But ideally, what I want is to bring in like streaming revenue all time. I have that data. I just got to put it in. Sync stuff. There's other syncs or other things like voiceover work or whatever else, crowdfund type things. I want to bring in that data in here. And again, same thing, have a revenue agent or assistant here where I can talk with it. Or like imagine bringing in like, I don't know how this would work, but like QuickBooks API or something and have it like, I already have QuickBooks connected to my label account, and I can bring in that data and see it in real time and then get insights off of that. that could be interesting. Like, oh, maybe you're spending too much on, I don't know, AI subscriptions or something, and then have it, use that. So yeah, I really want to keep working on this. I had this just like revenue analytics, and then there's this like catalog valuation thing, which is off, but I thought that could be interesting once I'm actually bringing in real time revenue data. It's like to have like a catalog valuation or just other things like that, so that I have an understanding of like either my value or things that I can go out there and do. I mean, like I feel like sky's the limit when it comes to the revenue side, and even the other pages and stuff that I built out. Moving along, I have the fans agent. So right now, what I did was I brought in Lalo fans. So I exported. I have more than this, but I wanted to focus on one of my Lalo accounts basically. So I pulled in. There's some data there. So it's pulling in like emails and phone numbers of people that I already had on Lalo, and it's showing me how many of those have pre-saved for certain releases, their countries, and then the acquisition channels, which is like Instagram and all that stuff.
Is this using Lalo API, or is this you exported data from Lalo and then uploaded it?
I exported and uploaded. I just wanted to quickly kind of get the things going. I'm not sure how open Lalo is, but yeah, I did that just because I quickly wanted to like kind of build this page out. So I did that. And then I have like the Infinite Crowdfund, which is a crowdfund that I did back in 2022, where I raised 17 ETH to put out that current album. So that was a crowdfund. I did that on Mirror. Again, I uploaded this. If you notice, I think Mirror is now with Paragraph, so they kind of absorbed that. Some of those pages are live, some of them are not. So I went ahead and brought this in, and then it kind of shows my top backers, their wallet address, their token balance, if there's an ENS name. I think this one has an ENS name. They ranked at number 3 on the crowdfund, 2,000 tokens, which at the time that was 1-to-1 ratio with ETH. So they contributed 2 ETH, and then they got in exchange 2,000 of the Infinite tokens, ERC20s. So I started doing things like that. I want to bring in like more NFT collectors, and then just have this kind of populate and show me all of that data.
Where did you pull in the data from Infinite Crowdfund? I'm sorry.
Again, it was another CSV that I've had sitting here for a couple years. Okay. That I haven't like. I thought it was a good idea to start bringing those things in and kind of filter them out and keep that, right?
Yeah, make it more visual for you.
Yeah,
it's probably easier to understand than a CSV.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I don't want to open a Google Sheet, like especially like if I'm on the go and I can quickly open up Pt.2 OS and like take a look at that. I think that's pretty powerful for me, and the label, right? And then I built this recently. Ideally, like again, I wanted to make this more than a dashboard, more than a CRM. So I built this for fun. So far, it's like basically it's like a terminal showing me Latin music industry intelligence. So we have an industry feed showing me, like, this is all placeholder stuff, but it's showing me like the latest, news, right, in the industries when it relates to Latin music. So Spotify Radar Latino expands to new markets. Mexico passes new streaming royalty. Sony acquires a catalog. So I can see momentum in the industry, just get more insights. Market state, I'm not sure how this would work or how this would actually calculate. But again, it's a placeholder and it's showing me kind of like the condition and then what this means for you. Obviously, this at the moment doesn't mean much for me because I'm not a regional Mexican artist. But again, if I was a label looking for a regional Mexican artist or musician to support or help, like that could be pretty useful, right? Just kind of like A&R insights or data that I can use. But ideally, what I want is to use this more for, again, the label and like things happening. And I'm sure I can go a lot harder on this terminal idea and have it, ideally I would love everything to connect, to integrate and speak to each other and get more insights into the things that I'm doing. So this is like the first thing that I vibe coded. And yeah, it was, I want to say I like did a one shot of it. And then from there, I was basically iterating as I go. So I think that's why I've struggled with like building other things out. I'm like, man, this one was so smooth for me. Like I'm feeling friction on these other ideas I've been kind of building out. But yeah, that's the beginning of Pt.2 OS.
This is very, very, very cool. I love seeing this a lot. Just while you've been talking, I've been taking screenshots of what you're doing and I'm sending them over to Sid. And cool. Sid's immediate question is he using Recoup? on this no, and then I'm sending him your screenshots and saying what you're doing of each, and he's just like, and he's replying, and you can tell that he's very interested in what you're doing
Nice.
and he's like, I want to be on this call. What the heck? So he's
Very cool.
loving. This is giving us a lot of insights into how you are thinking of building your own label, because this is exactly what we're trying to build towards, and seeing you build it for yourself is like, oh, okay, there's not a lot of artists, there's not a lot of people out there that are actually building this for themselves. And so to see where you're pulling your data, how are you structuring tabs, what do you want your UI to look like, what are the tabs that are important for you, these are really helpful for me to be able to see. He just replied so fire, so he's
nice.
Yeah, we're both fans of what you're building.
Thank you.
Have you found it's a cool build? Have you found yourself coming back and referencing this at all, or using the data so far in any sync opportunities, or when requests are coming in, or in running your business or your label? Have you so far found yourself opening this up and using the data instead of going to one of your CSVs?
For the catalog agent, yeah, that's been the one that I've been like, it was the one I was the most excited about. So it was the first one that I built out, because again, it was a real issue. Like, I have over 100 releases, and then this year I might, I'm gonna add a lot to that. So I needed to build that out quickly. I feel like everything else is still fragmented, but like, for example, the streams agent isn't really priority. I would say if I had to choose, I would go from catalog to revenue to fans. I think the revenue one is really important. And I think I haven't seen anything like it. And like, also, it's really personal, internal data, right? You kind of don't want to have that out there. It's a very, I built this out internally, right? Again, an OS, like a personal OS, but with a focus on the record label. But I keep thinking through, what does the record label of the future look like? And could this be the beginning of that, right? Just having this, because, obviously the labels have their own systems and their own ways of managing things, right? So I think for independent artists, this is really interesting. I do see a lot of the things that you guys are now doing with Recoup, and I'm curious as to what could be integrated or what could connect, like what would make sense. Because there's things that I found, maybe I could vibe code it, but I'm like, should I? Like, should I make this easier for myself to pull in, whatever, more data, or for my releases? Like, one thing, a challenge that I had was I exported all of my data from DistroKid from 2017 to now. And I think it was 230,000 lines or rows, CSV. It was a 30 megabyte CSV. And at first it was pulling it in, but it was taking so long to populate the revenue. I think it was a revenue thing. So let me go back here really quick to revenue. So I had a card here.
DistroKid data in here as well.
I had it, yeah. But it broke my brain. So I decided to kind of scrap it for now. And I think what I did was started doing it by like less periods of time or something like that. I condensed it down because I tried to optimize. I'm like, this could be a good way to learn something, is to optimize how the app or how it processes all of that data in one go. Because if all I'm pulling is revenue data from 2018 to now, and then I can go ahead and upload, every month. That's a quick export upload to the platform here. Maybe that could work. So again, just that's why I want to tackle the revenue agent and see what actually makes sense. So that's going to be a challenge. But again, it's a lot of data from a lot of years. Bringing it in, putting it together, I can quickly reference it. Like, if you ask me, hey X, how much did you net from Spotify over the last 5 years? Like, I can give you a rough estimate, but I want to see the numbers, right? Like, I want to see it there, especially if it's been 5 years. So that's why I think the revenue one is key for what I'm doing.
So it sounds like the two agents that you're building out, one that you're already actively using is your catalog agent to help you see what's in your catalog and address opportunities and provide information to people querying you for opportunities about sync deals and rights and licensing deals. Right. And the revenue agent is one that you think would be valuable, and you want to pull in more data sources so that you can have a more up-to-date insight on the revenue across your label.
Right. Yeah, 100%. And, I think in the future, for me, past the label, it's all the other things that I'm doing, right? So if it's Piquete, so CPG, if I get into character IP, if I open up a creative studio or something like that, that could probably also live here, and I can start, seeing the overall picture, not just the music, right? So this idea of the holding creative company that I'm trying to build, it could be housed under this. But I wanted to focus on music for now. But ideally, like that's where I would want to take it, and just kind of compile and have everything here together. I think that could be really interesting, is seeing the entire picture of everything that I want to build over the next, 5 years. And again, I have this like artist profile thing because I do help and manage a few producers and songwriters. So again, I can get a picture of them and help them, right? Like I've helped them on board to the traditional industry, and I've helped some of them on chain, right? So again, if I can give them access to this and they can get a clearer picture, I think they would find a lot of value in this as well. So something I'm thinking through. This is also like needs a lot of work, but again, I've focused more on some of the other things that I'm doing. So like again, you can see here that it's also showing there. But yeah, this could be the other producer and his contributions to my works and how. There we
You're
go.
back.
Yeah, it was a connection error, but yeah, I don't know if I got cut off here, but
This is all looking really awesome.
thank you,
It's
thank you.
very well built out for your first time vibe coding something.
Thank you. It was fun. I had fun with this one, and I felt it was very smooth. It wasn't like the issues that I got were all me, me complicating things or redundancies or, like doing that. But that was the goal, man. So I started building this out like the second week of December.
Mhm.
So now I've jumped to like other projects and things like that. But again, like let me see if I've only actually deployed, I think, two of the three things that I've built out. Um,
But you have
yeah,
gotten to that stage of deployment and hosting.
yeah, yeah. And I want to say, remember our last call? You said, "Hey, like, deploy this thing so you can see if you get any errors, issues, or whatnot." And like, out of the three that I've deployed, I think this has been the only one that gave me no issues. So again, going back to like how smooth it was, like everything was so smooth with this thing. So I'm thinking like I'm gonna coast for my next two projects, and the other ones were actually giving me issues and things like that. But I'm trying to get the muscle, like remembering things like commit and push, remembering, to actually run the build, all those things that bring everything together before actually putting it out there.
Yep.
I think that's the things that I need to get going, really.
How are you running your rules files right now? Would you mind taking me into your code and showing me how you've structured your code base?
Yeah, let's take a look. Uh, could I do that from Restream?
Yeah, you just open up your VS Code and then share screen for VS Code screen.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing, and then I'll share again, but I'm gonna do browse. Okay, it's because it says browser tab. Let me see.
Interesting.
Is that it? You got it there?
I see your browser tab. Yep.
Nice. Okay, so this is my messy yeah, so this is what I have right now. But let me take a look if
Looks
I'm in
like
the
you got both Claude and Cursor files in here. Are you using Claude Code or are you using Cursor?
Okay. All right, so this project initially I started with the Cursor agent, and I used Opus 4.5 and Auto.
Yep.
But just recently I added the Claude Code extension, so that's why you're seeing.
Ah.
So, for example, I'll have it laid out like this, and then I'll do that. So I'm doing that. What's a quick way to get the? I literally just restart the server and then I click the thing, or I
Yep,
have it.
that's great.
Okay.
That's great. This is awesome. Wow, it loads fast from you started up the server and it was live in less than 5 seconds. This
Yeah,
really
yeah.
fast.
Yeah, you see how it takes a little longer to get in. And
Yeah,
again,
that's totally normal for local
yeah.
development.
So I want to say, just recently I had to go ahead and like some of the docs that I did a product thesis. I did a project context. I think this is what I had originally before the thesis. And that's why like I have that. I have the README, but this README is more internal, not necessarily like, oh, how to use this.
Mm,
And then I had a roadmap here, which I have not opened or touched since I actually created it.
right.
Um, but like that's kind of what I have right now there. I don't know if there's anything else in particular.
So those
Um,
are your, it looks like you don't have any rule files in here. Can you
no, I
expand cursor? Cursor
which
probably had the .cursor file up top probably has, okay, so it does have one rules file, and what's
oh,
in
okay.
that?
I did this one.
Okay.
But this was from the isn't there like a database, a V0 thing, or like a Versa one where you can actually find rules and stuff like that?
Probably.
Yeah, so this is something that potentially I should update um, now that I've actually built something else out. What would you recommend I do?
I think that's going to be where you're going to start to find more iterations of success, defining the rules of whenever you make a change, make sure you run the build.
Mm.
Anytime you make a change, push it. Never
Okay,
push directly to main. Always push over to a feature branch.
okay.
Like,
Like locally here?
yeah, inside of your inside of Claude code, you can do /init, and then it'll write the Claude. Yeah, do that, and then it'll write the Claude doc for you.
Really? So just doing it right now to do it?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
and so then you'll see in the root of the project, you're going to get a Claude.md file, and that is going to, that's the rules for Claude. And from there, you can then tell it. So that's what I do is, for example, today, Claude wrote an API file, but it included the validation for the input parameters in the route. I
Okay.
don't like it to do that. I like it to make a separate file for and call it like a validate input params file to
Okay.
follow the single responsibility principle. Each file should have one and only one principle. And so when it
Okay.
made that mistake, I told it, hey, this should be in a separate file. Please do that. It did the change. And after it did the change, I said, now update your Claude file with this note so that I never need to tell you this again. And then it went
Right.
into its Claude file. It put the rule in that I just did. And now anytime I do something in the future, it learned because I told it explicitly, this is a rule I need you to always follow.
Right.
And so right now it's reading your code base. It's understanding, okay, how is the project structured?
Okay.
What is it doing? What tech does it use? And it's getting all the information that it needs to write its own Claude file. That
Okay.
way, all future prompts you ask, it's already going to know, okay, I already know the structure. I know
Okay.
where he puts his code. I know what the technologies are that he uses. And then it'll just be able to respond faster and follow the rules without it every time you make a prompt saying, I need to
Mhm.
study your entire code base. And then
Yep.
it goes and tries to study, but it misses some of the things that it caught the previous time.
Okay. So I've done that with like GPT, especially when it comes to cursor stuff. I've told it like keep it beginner friendly, give me single cursor command prompts, and it's saved to memory. So anytime we're doing that, unless I ask it like, hey, I need something more specific. There's another project where I guess I added a rule, which was basically having it update a particular document every time it made a change. That way, I didn't have to go back exactly what you're saying and say go through the entire thing and then update that or whatever it was. It was something like that, but it wasn't in this project. So this could be a good one. I think I saw Sid added something here.
Yeah, Sid also added something to the docs. This is something I need to do in our code bases. Vercel just came out with a React best practices.
Okay, I saw.
And yeah, they just came out with React best practices. And the way that people are doing it is in your vibe coding, especially for your newer projects,
Mhm.
say like start by downloading this, add it to the project, and make sure you follow these best practices in what you build. That's just going to be another set of guardrails so that you don't get build failures and so that you're getting like top tier, well written code.
Okay.
Here you go. So here's your Claude file. What's your thoughts on what it's got here?
Okay. Awesome. Let's see. Yeah, Synergy OS, internal operating system, creative operational intelligence, running a modern record label, and then the actual like the modules, right? So the release management, catalog, multi-source income, yep. Platform analytics, fans, audience intelligence and segmentation, of course, And then the agents is eventually what I want to kind of start doing and bring everything. The tech stack, you asked me last call. So here's some of the things. Also, like this one, again, like doing super bass here, doing all these different things, I felt it to be more, it was smoother than some of the other projects that I'm trying to build. Like I almost don't even want to touch like some of this back end stuff right now. I don't know. But again, for this, I found it to be very important, right? It's useful. So
Yeah, vibe coding can sometimes be a crapshoot.
yeah. And so again, like generating this, like let's say I wanted to work deeper with you and I'm like, sweet, you know, I would love for you to work on this. Bam. Like you could easily kind of go in here and look at this or throw it at your agent and kind of go through it and be like, hey, there's too many lines for this, or let's simplify it, or whatever it may be. So
Correct.
but yeah, no, this is very cool. I want to try to, so right
Click
now,
yes for it. Let it write that file on the right.
Let's do that. Yeah.
And there, now you can see it on the left. Now you got a Claude.md file. And yeah, and now anytime you prompt Claude, it will read that file before going and doing any work in your code base.
Interesting. So I've basically been doing this, but again, calling it, what was it? The project context.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar.
Yep.
What it is,
Yep.
who's it for, and then the technology stack right here, right? So
Yep. Same thing.
same idea. Yeah. Okay.
Is there anything that you have in here that is missing from the Claude file?
That's a good question. Let's see. Shouldn't it open? Let's see. Again, I'm still there we go. And then yeah, I'm not sure how to open it on both tab or have two tabs.
I am realizing we are at time. Is there anything we haven't talked about in this call that you want to mention before we start wrapping up?
No. So in terms of the album, releases next month. So I'm excited about that. Still thinking through how do I put it out in a way that it's something I haven't necessarily done before. Not that I want to reinvent the wheel or anything, but just trying to figure out on chain at least what is the thing, right? So I'm thinking through that. Maravilla City's live. We did the new interactive NFT thing, telling the story of the album, the project. Got to get that out into the world, and then yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Building apps for the the company, making music, creative breakthroughs. So yeah.
Do you have any changes that need made on the Maravilloso City website that you would want to vibe code and do a pair programming session to work through, or right now is that in a stable state, no changes needed?
That could be interesting. That could be cool because I keep thinking about the day the album releases. What is the one thing I want to do on chain? So that could be a pair session to vibe code something for that specifically. So I'm thinking through that. I just want to put a little more thought into it. If not, I still think even if it's something simple like a pay what you want, direct to fan sale to support the album, the project, and something like that, on chain could be really interesting, I think.
Thank you all for tuning in. We will see